On that Medicine Lodge.
Oh, that book's really good.
I mean, that's a classic. So its heyday was the 60s. I told you, I know I keep saying.
Yeah, so you were literally here during the all-time best part of it.
I lived here in the prime when this was everything in every store was a functional store. And this was the 30s, huh?
Yeah, literally, like this.
But I think it's interesting that the Achenbach, he built this because he wanted it closer to his farm.
And it's never had more than 1,000 people ever.
But I think that's really amazing that the whole county only has 5,000 people. Less than.
There's more people than that in an Eagles game.
I know. But that's what makes this amazing.
Where you go?
I have no idea.
I was like, we were going good.
Yes. Sure you have that on tape.
knew Bill. I worked for his dad the first time I worked for a farmer. I worked for Bill's dad, Lynn Tunda. And of course, Bill was the youngest of the three, and he was still in diapers.
Oh my
running around the
gosh.
house.
Yeah.
But I'm about 11 years older than him.
Well, let's see.
Dallas said, go ahead. He goes, you'll be dead before you hit the ground. So that made the guy think, what does he have that I'd be dead before I hit the ground? So he walked off and didn't mess with it.
Yeah.
You know, because that's a little intimidating.
Well, that's
You'll
what-
be dead before you hit the
Yeah.
ground. Okay, what do you want to say?
All right, ask him some questions.
Are we ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is Wes King.
Wes, thank you for doing this today. Appreciate your time.
You bet.
He manages the cemetery in Hardtner, and he's retired, of course. And what else did you used to do? You worked for the city, right?
Yeah, I maintained utilities for the city of Hardtner for 25 years, and also was a sexton of the cemetery at the same time. This is my 38th year of maintaining the cemetery.
Well, it looks
Like
great.
to be able to do it a couple more years if I live long enough.
You will. You will. We're so glad we got to meet you because you've just been such a pleasure for us. The most important thing for us was that you knew my grandfather, Harley Goebel.
Yes, yep.
So I know you can't say a lot that you remember about him, but just tell us a couple of stories that you told us yesterday about him being a real cowboy. What was it you said?
Well, Harley was what we call a real cowboy. He dressed like a cowboy all the time, and he loved horses. And he was 80-some years old when I met Harley, and he was still working. He helped us work cattle, and he loved peppermint schnapps, and we drank schnapps with him.
Okay.
We couldn't drink with him because he could drink us under the table, but he loved schnapps.
Yeah.
And he helped us work cattle, 80-some years old. He kind of lived on nitroglycerin, but he'd take a couple of them, and a few minutes he was back up on his feet and ready to go again.
Okay.
Ready for another snort of schnapps.
Oh, that's awesome. What about the friend, was it Bill, that said that he'd fight what was it that word, what'd you say?
Well, it was really Wolford Allen.
Okay.
He was an old timer too, and he knew Harley about most of his life. And he was an old time cowboy too, him and his brother Wayne. And old Wolford said Harley in his younger days, he said he didn't want to mess with him because he'd fight a buzzsaw. He said he was a tough old boot.
That's good. What did you also, that's great to hear that. I mean, not like you want your family member to be that, but you want them to be tough. To hear these stories, they're been gone for many years. As a granddaughter, to hear these things from somebody else is really important to me. It's important for why we're filming this and doing all this, is because we want to be able to document stuff that you can never get back, to pass on to my grandson.
That's good.
And that's what we're trying to do here. What did you say about Harley's son, Dallas? You didn't meet him, but you heard that.
Well, I ran around with Danny Metter.
Okay.
Some, and he was related to Dallas, and they used to have some gangs, mainly down at Alva, Oklahoma, and of course Medicine was quite a bit smaller than Alva, but Danny said there was a bunch of guys up at Medicine, they always wanted to rumble with the Alva boys, but he said, I think they were scared to come up and meet Dallas Goebel. Said he was a tough son of a gun.
Yeah.
I only met him one time, but his dad, Harley, was awful proud of him because he maintained the Clydesdales for Budweiser, and he knew horses, but he probably learned it all from his dad, Harley.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's really, that's what we wanted to hear. You grew up. Just give us a little bit of history of you. Where did you grow? You grew up here. Were you born in what city around here were you born?
Well, I was born here in Hardtner, Kansas, 1944.
Okay.
And we was living in northwest Oklahoma out on the farm, and my first 2 years of school I went to Capron, Oklahoma.
Okay.
And then when I was 8 years old, we moved to Hardtner, where I was born. And I was raised here, went to school and graduated here. And after running around over the country some here and there, I came back and settled in Hardtner and maintained the city utilities for 25 years and retired from that. But in that time I was the sexton of the cemetery. I love maintaining the cemetery. It's the only job I have left now. And hopefully I can leave it in better shape than I found it.
Wow, it's obvious.
It's beautiful,
that
yeah.
It's absolutely beautiful, and it's what we noticed first thing when we pulled in here is how beautifully maintained the cemetery is, and the cemetery is very dear to us because of our family. And I have one more question for you. You said you roamed around the United States and stuff. What is it about this area that brought you back?
Well,
home?
Yeah, I was born and raised here, and I've lived in Wichita 3 different times and kept coming back.
Yeah.
Because I like country living, and it's peaceful and quiet. The traffic's not bad.
Yeah.
And we don't have a lot of trouble,
Sure.
But drugs and stuff kind of all over the country, and small towns like this too. But, not like the big cities.
Yeah.
We don't have shootings and stuff every day. It's peaceful and quiet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's the way I like it.
Well, that is something that we noticed coming through this area. Is it was like he had made the comment. Aaron, my son, had made the comment that it was like going back in time because of you could feel more of a calmness here than we're from, Denver, the city, that area, and it's so different. And I can see why you're attracted to the quietness and peacefulness of a place like this. It's very beautiful, and this is a very beautiful part of Kansas.
Yeah, like where Harley was, I think, spent most of his time out here in the Gyp Hills, working on Ellis Ranch and different places, and I said, and he enjoyed it and loved it. It's peaceful and quiet. Everybody knows everybody. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
it's peaceful and quiet. That's the main thing I
Yeah.
like. And go to the big city to go shopping, and
Yeah, and that's the
always
fun part.
glad to get back home.
Yeah, absolutely. I know when we were kids, we would always go to Wichita to do, big shopping, but like you said, coming back home was always, important. When my mother passed away, which was Harley's daughter, Joanne, of course she died in Denver, and her words were, "I want to be buried home. This is home." And this was home to her, and she, same as you, she wanted to come back, and that's why she's buried here, and that's why we're here too, is just to document, our family, and my mother and my grandparents and my great-grandparents and aunts and uncles, and everybody's here.
Well, it's good that the younger generation takes this much pride in their elders, because a lot of the younger generation don't.
Yeah.
And they don't respect where they come from.
Yeah.
But they're beginning to, I think the COVID might have brought the younger generation back to wondering, where they come from. And it's a pretty scary situation, that COVID. It brought a lot of people back together, I think.
Well, and we certainly had a lot of time to do some thinking, didn't we?
Yeah.
You know, and
Well,
I think
you spend a lot of time in the house together and not getting to go out, so and that kind of helped bring them back together and get them thinking. I've had more people, younger generation, the last 2 years, last year especially, but this year too, walking the cemetery and reading stones and looking up relatives and stuff that they never took the time or had the time before. But the COVID, of course, it's kind of it's a sanctuary for me, and I just enjoy the peaceful and the quietness, and enjoy visiting with people that come back to see loved ones. And a lot of times I knew them because I'm an old codger myself now.
yeah.
And I enjoy visiting with people. I see someone, I'm looking for something, I like to crank up a conversation with them because a lot of times I knew who they're.
Yeah, who they're loved, just like
Yeah.
with me, you know, when saying Harley Goebel and you knew him, we just were so thrilled with that. We want you to know how important that was to both myself and my son, that we actually met you, Wes, and I want you to know that it really meant a lot to us. That meeting you was really a joy.
I'm happy to be of some help and enjoyed working for Harley.
Yeah.
He was an old-time cowboy.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Wes, and truly, and taking your time to do this for us and talk to us really means a lot. And we wish you, well, we'll be out here again tomorrow probably, so we might see you again tomorrow. But we wish you the best.
Well, same to you all. And I was pleased to meet both of you and your son.
Well, thank you
You're
so
good
much.
people.
Well, thank you so much.
You too, Wes. I appreciate it.
Yes, we just have enjoyed this so much meeting
Chip
you.
off the old shoulder of Harley.
Well, you know, in some areas there, you would say I was a lot like him, you know.
Yeah.
So some things do kind of run in families. Let's just put it that way.
I can notice a little bit in your grandson too, or in your son.
My son, yeah.
Harley's nose kind of came over, kind of bent down just a little bit, and your son looked like he's got that too.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and he was 3 months old when Harley died. So he was 3 months old, and he didn't get to meet him, but didn't get to know him. But that's why this is real important, and hearing stories about him is more for my kids and their kids. You know, because it's part of your roots. It's your roots.
Yeah.
It is your roots.
If you've got someone buried in Hardtner Cemetery, you've got roots in Hardtner.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Wes. Thank you so much, sir. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for your time. We're going to go to medicine and do some. Put them out on the fence post.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it was all when they killed them, they put them out there. Did that deter other coyotes? Was that the purpose, or was it just a bragging thing?
I think bragging. We were bragging like my dog saw all these things. But at one time,
My dog's bigger than your dog.
one time the county gave like $2 for an ear, coyote ears, pair of coyote ears, so that they'd shoot one or their dog would kill one, they'd cut their ears off, and it was $2.
Well, they sure
$2
were-
meant a little bit, something
The
like that.
coyotes-
Mostly more money back then.
Friends of the cows, so because they were after the calves and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, that's how they survived. Was they ate the afterbirth and sometimes the calf, you know, and even after the calf's up and around, if they get a little ways away from the herd or something, or the old mama cow hides them in the grass and coyotes find them. A lot of times they kill them.
Yeah.
But that's their survival.
Yeah. You can't fault them for that.
No.
All right, Wes.
Good to see you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good business, y'all.
Yeah.
empty freeway. No waiting for the light to change. I'm seeing the sunrise behind me.